John Rakoczy here with Assure Occupational Testing, and today I am answering your top questions about drug testing for cannabis. So we compiled a few of the most commonly asked questions that we get here at Assure when it comes to drug testing for cannabis. And today I'm going to tackle probably the most popular one that we're getting right now, and that is, can we just stop testing for THC? So many questions when it comes to testing for legal recreational substance here in Canada. Quick answer to this is yes, it's your drug and alcohol testing program. You decide what's best for you and your workplace and the safety of your workers. So quick answer is yes, you can stop testing for THC, but there's pros and there's cons that go along with that. So first, let's look at some pros. If you were to stop testing, you will be able to hire more workers. You're going to have less people failing drug tests. That's going to open up the pool of people that you can hire from. If you just stop testing, you're not going to know what people are using or not. It could reduce your lab and your MRO costs. So medical review officer costs. If you do instant drug testing and a person is not negative or they failed that instant drug test, then and you're sending those samples to the lab for confirmation, you're going to have less samples going to the lab for confirmation. So your lab and your MRO costs are going to go down. Another pro of not testing for THC is you don't have to deal with or manage any medical marijuana issues because you're not going to know if anyone's using, and you don't have to deal with any recreational marijuana users. All those questions and concerns and the pushback you're getting from employees who use, you don't have to deal with any of that anymore. Now let's look at the cons if you stop testing for THC. Department of Transportation regulations require THC testing. So it's a part of their panel 5. So if you were to stop testing for THC, that would put you out of compliance with the DOT. Site owners, many of you go to third-party sites, contractor sites, and you have contracts with them. Lots of times the contract states that you have to do pre-access or site access testing. If you're not testing for THC, then that puts you out of compliance with some of your contracts potentially. Occupational health and safety says it's a duty on the employer. The employer has a duty to maintain a safe workplace. They make it a legal obligation to protect your workers and the public. So if you're not testing for THC, you're choosing to ignore a highly used impairment-causing substance. Another con of not testing is if you stop testing on the front end, so pre-employment, if you stop testing for THC, any of your workers who choose to use recreational marijuana may be unable to pass a future reasonable cause post-incident or pre-access drug test. The message that it sends is if you don't test on the front end for THC, could send a message that it's okay. You can be a recreational user, use before work, use right after, use whenever. It creates a culture where using recreationally is okay, which is going to make it harder for your workers to pass drug tests in the future. Not testing for THC, another con, is it may reflect poorly on your company brand. It may give your company the image of not being as safety conscious as other companies. Another con of not testing is you're not testing for one of the most highly used substances. So a study that was done called the Canadian Tobacco, Alcohol and Drug Survey, this is 2017, Canadian statistic, top 5 substances used in the past year by Canadians. Number 1 was alcohol. Number 2 was cannabis. So just looking at that blue column there, general population, 15 people age 15 and older, 14% said they consume. Youth, 19% of youth said they consume. Young adults, that's up to 33%. So this is a highly used substance. So depending on the average age of your worker, of most of your workers, some of you might have higher higher percentage of your workforce who is consuming recreationally. So you're, again, by not testing for THC, you're ignoring the fact that many Canadians consume marijuana. Can we stop testing for THC? Another con is you're not testing for one of the most highly used substances. Again, another statistic coming out of the Canadian National Cannabis Survey. This was done in 2019. So this is post-legalization. 16% of Canadians said that they consume cannabis. That percentage prior to legalization was 14. So 14% before October 2018 said they consume after legalization. So I believe this is second quarter 2019, 16% of Canadians said that they consume. If you look at some of those provinces, the numbers are higher. Alberta, 20%, for example, Nova Scotia, 24, up to 32% in Iqaluit. Of those people, so carrying on with that same survey, the National Cannabis Survey 2019, of the people surveyed who called themselves a current user, 13% of those said that they consume before or during work. Of the people who call themselves a daily or almost daily consumer, 27% of those people said that they consume before or during work. This is clearly a workplace safety issue. Another con, the final one of not testing for THC, it will increase the number of THC users in your workplace. And there's risk and there's cost that goes along with that. Impact of substance use at work. It causes more injuries to self and others. People who use substances at work or under the influence at work injure themselves and others more. They take more shortcuts. They make rush decisions. They have a higher risk tolerance. They tend to be absent for work, late, and take more sick days. They cause you to have higher insurance rates. If they're having incidents in the workplace, what does that do to your insurance rates? But of course, it drives them up. Higher WCB claims, increased fraud, theft, embezzlement, damage to company vehicles, property, equipment. People under the influence, of course, aren't as clear-minded and present and make sound decisions in the moment. Endangering coworkers and the public. And again, OHS says you have a duty to maintain a safe workplace, not just for yourself and your workers, but also for the public and the environment. So I hope you found that helpful in terms of the pros and cons of stopping testing for THC. If you've got more questions, please leave us a comment, visit our website, give us a call. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.